Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bravo Tea with the Stay at Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I'm ready to talk all things Bravo. Welcome back, everybody. I hope everyone had an amazing weekend. I actually had a little sleepover with our oldest daughter at a friend's house because her daughter is the same age. And it was her first sleepover, and it was so cute and so fun. All the girls had a great time. Everyone slept all night. I was surprised. I have discovered that I'm officially an old lady at 33 because sleeping on a couch hurts my back. So I had a good time and I'm glad I got to do that with my daughter, but I was glad to be in my own bed the next night. And when I was not doing that, I was watching Buying Beverly Hills on Netflix this weekend. My husband and I started it, I guess Friday night we watched it, and then we watched some more on Sunday, and then I'm recording this on Monday, so we have our last 2 episodes to watch tonight. He liked it just as me, and you know what? He was thinking the same thing as me. He looked at me and was like, "Wow, Maurizio's just telling us a lot more about him and Kyle than Kyle did on Beverly Hills," and I was like, "You know what? You're right." I am wondering if Bravo is, like, pissed at Kyle because she was actually on the show this year. So last year she wasn't. And I think it's because, a conflicting contract because she's on Bravo and they're like, we don't want you on another channel that's not affiliated with us. She was on it this season. And I'll tell you what, more in depth scenes with Maurizio than she did on Beverly Hills. We saw the episode I just watched the other night. She had a new house in Aspen, gorgeous. The other one was nice, but this one's a lot more open and they have like big windows. And she was bicycling back from town with 2 Hermes shopping bags with a Birkin bag already on her wrist. And I'm like, oh my God, Kyle, you have a problem. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, her and Maurizio were really having a lot more scenes. I felt that were more productive on this show. And I was like, thank God we're watching this because Beverly Hills just didn't give it to me this season. The reunion, I was hoping there'd be like a lot. There wasn't. He actually even said, though, in the last episode of Buying Beverly Hills, he's like, I don't think Kyle and Morgan are sleeping together. And I'm like, he's like, maybe I'm the only crazy one that doesn't think that. And I'm like, oh my God. It is crazy because I'm really liking Maurizio on the show, and I'm really feeling bad for him because he's expressing a lot of emotion with the relationship with Kyle. He's like, I'm sad because I thought we were going to grow old together and blah, blah, blah. Now, she says that he did something that she just could not get past and betrayed the trust. I need somebody to tell me what it is so I can go back to being upset with him because I'm really more upset with her. I don't know. Like, it's weird. And the one thing, like he said, is, Kyle wants to slow down and not go out, and she's chosen to not drink anymore, which is great. But he's like, I'm not at that point in my life. Like, I don't want to slow down. I don't want to sit at home every night. And the one thing I can say is, it's fine that she doesn't want to drink, and that's a personal choice, and that's great. But I don't like that she's, like, totally changed her personality, and she's like, "Okay, now all of a sudden I want you to be okay with my totally new personality, and I don't wanna go out, and I'm gonna be mad at you that you go out and you still do everything we were doing our whole life together." Like, just because you don't wanna drink, I find it that she needs to still go out to these social events because that's what their life has been. So she can't kinda get mad that he doesn't wanna all of a sudden become like an old man and sit at home and read books. Um, it's hard. I feel bad for him. I feel like she has totally changed. I get if he did something that, like, betrayed the trust. You do you, Kyle, and if you can't come back from that, I can't say that I would come back from that either. Like, I don't know if I could ever get over cheating, even if it was with, like, a stranger one time. I don't think I could ever get past that. So I totally get that you can't get past whatever he did to break the trust, but I don't like that she's totally changed her personality, and she's like, "Oh, why aren't you fine with my new personality? I'm getting all these little tattoos and have this brand new friend and just wanna sit at home and read books and go to bed at 8 o'clock at night." So, I don't know, I'm really liking the show, though. There's this mean lady that is, like, trash talking the daughters, and I don't like it, so we have 2 episodes left, and I hope she gets fired because she's, like, talking trash to these 2 other guys on the show, and she's like, "Yeah, it would be, like, total career suicide, business ending if the girls take over. And also, it's like, why are you acting like Maurizio at the young age of 53 is like on a deathbed retiring tomorrow? Like, he may work for 15, 20 more years. I don't know. Like, we see his dad on the show. His dad comes in and works at the agency. So it's like, I think this woman needs to pump the brakes thinking she's going to like have to fight tooth and nail to be the CEO tomorrow. And also, it's like, if you're talking trash about the daughters, you're not probably going to be promoted. You may even be fired. I hope she's fired because she runs one of the offices, but I don't like her technique of like, let me come in and trash talk the family and then be like, I need to take the throne over because they're just too inexperienced. Because, like I said, they may take over 15 years from now. So you can't say, oh, well, they're young little girls. It's like, they're also not like super young. Like Farah is 35, Alexia is 27. And like, I don't know, it's just it didn't sit well with me that she's trash talking them. And then you think their dad is going to promote you just because you're older. And she also was like trying to like show Alexia what to do. And she's like, I think she needs to like realize that I've been working here. I've been selling real estate. I think she said she sold like $36 million worth of real estate in a year. So it's like, yeah, I don't think she needs help. And I would have to pull the card of like, listen, bitch, you know who my dad is? I'm fine. Go back to your little office that's in like a hole that you have like two employees with, like the worst agency office probably. Like it's like I like that they all work there. They work hard. They're not just there because they are the family members and the daughters. They definitely earn their spot there. So I don't like that this woman is trying to act like they're total idiots and they're just being everything handed to them on a silver platter and like they're going to run everything into the ground. Because also, I understand when you are a CEO, an owner, or a boss, you need to obviously tell your employees what to do. And yes, maybe some people will be a little afraid of you, but you don't want everyone to be scared of you, everyone to hate you, everyone think you're like a raging lunatic, because then they're all going to quit. So just the fact that she's already going around acting like this, and then when the girls confronted her, she's like, "Oh, I didn't say that." And I love when the producers always just put the clip back and she's like, "I didn't say business suicide." And they immediately pull up the clip and it was like, "Business suicide." And I'm like, "Yeah, I actually would appreciate if you told me to my face that you said this because we're on a TV show, there's cameras, they're going to show. So now not only did you say that about me, but you lied about saying it too." So yeah, I got 2 episodes left. I hope she gets fired. I don't like it or like a stern talk, but also it's kinda like you almost have to fire people that are like that because what message is Maurizio sending if he's like, "Oh, yeah, I just talked to her and it's fine. She's gonna stay here even though she totally trash talked." And he's so family oriented, and their number one rule that they have on the agency wall is said, "Don't be an asshole." So right now, she's being an asshole, like times 10. I don't like it. I think the daughters are great, and like I said, we get so much of Kyle and Maurizio. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, if you take a break from Bravo, get the Netflix Buying Beverly Hills on your screens. And it's great because you can binge watch it. So I love that. But then I get like, I watch them all in like a weekend and then we get like sad because we're like, oh, we got to wait like a whole nother year to get the new season. But it's a good show. I love it. And I like it better than like Selling Sunset because we're still getting the houses and stuff, but to me, it's more real. Like Selling Sunset is done by the people that did The Hills and Laguna Beach. And on my last episode, I know I was talking about that a lot of people have come out and said that that was totally made up. And I get the vibes that Selling Sunset is like very made up. I heard some of those houses, like they don't even sell them. And it's like, I don't like that. Like, I think all the houses we see on the agency, they really sell it because Maurizio's killing it. Actually, one house that was on, I swear was on Selling Sunset, so I'm like, maybe they couldn't sell it and they pulled out from them and they're giving the listing to Maurizio, which would be crazy, but I think it's very real because there was a house that a guy had on the market and it was up for a year and the contract was over and he had to, he walked away without selling it. So like they're showing real things. Like I feel like on Selling Sunset, they don't show any negative of like, oh, we didn't sell this. It's just like all, look, we did this, we did that. And a lot more fighting on that show in like a more staged way, you know? Selling Sunset is all very real. Like, when the girls were talking to that woman, like, that was all real, and they were pissed, and the woman had the tail between the legs, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't do that or say that." It's like, "Girl, you're on candid camera. We're gonna go back to the tapes and look at you." Like, can't get away with anything on the reality TV shows. But some other news, oh, I forgot to say at the beginning because I dove right into it. This is gonna be half a gossip session, spilling a little Bravo tea, and then the other half, we're gonna recap Summerhouse because I did not do my bonus episode over the weekend because I had the sleepover. I was very tired from sleeping on the couch. Um, Summerhouse is on, like, a weird day for me. I like to recap it right away, but sometimes doing 3 episodes a week is a lot for me. It's probably a lot for you guys to listen to too, I get it. You don't just have all the time in the world to just listen to me and me only. So, I may pull back to doing more gossip ones as the bonus episode, or I just got my YouTube channel up and running, so I wanna do some video in person in my office/studio now. It officially is dubbed the podcast studio. Got a cute little setup, so I wanna have some of my friends come in person, and maybe I'll just do, like, gossip and talk about anything with them and won't necessarily only recap, and that could be the bonus episodes, it could be the videos. Tell me what you guys think about doing it that way, and then I could save the recap for Summerhouse on Tuesdays because I feel like it's nothing, like, earth-shattering that we can't wait. Because every week I feel like Lindsay and Carl are fighting, and we know ultimately they're gonna break up, so nothing is earth-shattering. But in some positive earth-shattering news, Ariana Madix has finally moved out of her home, and I am so happy for her. $2 million house she is leaving behind for a $1.6 million house in the Hollywood Hills. Um, I think this house is gonna be better for her. I feel like it's more the vibe she wanted. I feel like them getting that house in the valley is too, like, family oriented. So this one, it's like a mid-century modern, totally redone. Like I said, it's in the Hollywood Hills, so she's got, like, a great view. So I feel like she's more where, like, Stassi and Beau are, because 'cause they're not in the valley either. LaLa and Sheena have recently purchased homes in the valley. I feel like they're officially trying to say, "We wanna be moved onto the valley. We're done with Vanderpump Rules," because I could see them fitting onto the valley because they have kids, and that's the whole theme of the valley. But good for Ariana finally moving out. They still are supposed to go to court in June to settle on the sale of the house. I hope that happens. Now the only thing the judge will probably say is, like, you can't want Tom to move out just because you don't want him to have the house and you're, like, a little jealous of that. But if she goes in and says, "No, I really want him to move out of the house so I can have the money," and Tom proves that he can buy her out, the judge probably will say, "Well, like, as long as you get your money, like, you need to, who cares if he stays here and he can't pay the bills in the house, as long as he does cut you a check." I don't know where all his money is coming from. It's wild to me that he could just completely buy her out of the house and then completely afford it on his own. Very shocked by that, but whatever. At this point, thank God she has just moved out because I do understand that she had to stay in the house for a little bit longer to save up money because everyone was just like, "Okay, like, why aren't you leaving? Like, you need to just leave. It's probably, like, very unhealthy for you that you're here." But I understand that you can't just up and leave, and, like, California is literally so expensive. Like, we see she's paying 1.6 million for this house, and she said, like, 2 episodes ago on Vanderpump that before this all these opportunities came her way and before the scandal and whatnot, she was, like, last down to her last $2,000, which is just crazy to me. So I get she had to stay in the house to save money, but also probably not good for her trying to move on and her mental health because as we see in the episode, she's, like, texting the assistant, like, "Okay, is it okay if I just come down the stairs? Is he upstairs in the workout room that he said he built, and that's why he just has to stay in this house and can't leave?" Um, because we know that Vanderpump Rules filmed the reunion last week and that Lala and Ariana have, like, a major fight. I don't know because Lala went on some talk shows and she said that, like, it was, her and Ariana did have some words, and then the person I don't know what show it was, just some rando show I don't watch, I just saw the clip. The host was like, "Yeah, we heard you eviscerated Ariana, and you guys are not friends, and you left heated." And Lala's like, "One of those things is true." I don't think that they're not friends. I think the Ariana eviscerating LaLa happened. But I also don't think LaLa would admit to anyone eviscerating her. So maybe the not being friends anymore is true because LaLa also went on Jeff Lewis a couple days ago. And I'm just going to play a little clip that she was talking about Ariana and the whole living situation.
No, I think that's where she's maybe losing a couple people in the group is you're talking about how unsafe you feel, yet you live in the same home as him.
Right.
That's where, and that's also what was kind of losing me all season. We're talking about, this devastated me, but you met a new guy 10 days later. So I wanted her to kind of explain how all of these things can be true at once. And I was looked at as like kind of an idiot. Like, how could you not even understand this? I mean, you felt unsafe with your ex. And I'm like, so unsafe that I like basically moved in the middle of the night and
Right.
like paid cash for an Airbnb because I didn't want a paper trail left. Like, I
Yeah.
was legitimately in fear.
I also need to know, like, we know Randall cheated on her, but that's not like, "Oh, I fear for my life because you cheated on me in Nashville with, like, some random hose." I need to know really what she's, like, in fear of, and I know he kinda had, like, the casting couch, but I don't think the casting couch was being, provided in the living room of their home. So, I really would like to know a little more info about that, like why she felt so unsafe because I also respect that she's just not like blurting it out of like, "Oh, well, this, and this happened." But it's like, I am curious why she feels she needs more custody of Ocean too. Like, what is going on in his life, his home life, that Randall is unsafe? And yeah, why did you need to move in the middle of the night? I mean, I remember that she had to do all that. I'm just saying we never knew like exactly why she felt so unsafe. I don't know if it was more like he probably just wanted to, like, never have her leave, and maybe he would've been, like, crazy, like, maybe he used to say, like, "If you ever leave, I'll, like, kill you," or something scary that she may have been like, well, I'm not gonna sit around and wait around and find out," which brings me to another topic, not Bravo related, but Christine Quinn, who used to be on Selling Sunset. She was kinda like the villain-esque one. She hasn't been on the past, I guess, 2 seasons. She is planning on filing for divorce from her husband. He was arrested for alleged domestic violence this past Wednesday, March 20th. He was taken into custody. He, was arrested for assaulting with a deadly weapon. So apparently, he threw a bag containing a glass bottle at Christine. He missed her and hit the victim's child, causing an injury. So they share a 3-year-old son. That is terrible. He already, I guess she had like a PFA or a restraining order against him. So I'm also like, why are you even in her presence? Because even if you don't agree why there's a restraining order or PFA against you, it's best for you to just stay your distance. Definitely not do this because guess what? When she goes to court for the divorce and probably to like get full custody, the judge is probably just going to give it all right to her because you're not making yourself look any better. You're making yourself look even worse. So that's really sad. So I mean, kudos to all these people that want to get out. Now, Ariana's situation, I don't know why she said she felt unsafe. I mean, I think she could beat up Tom, honestly. I think I could beat up Tom. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Tom would have ever done anything like to harm her or made her feel unsafe. Maybe you feel uncomfortable sharing the house with him, but I do agree with Lala in the sense of like if you feel so unsafe, why the hell are you there for all this time? Like you are on the house with him. I get like Lala is like, "Oh, well, I just moved." It's like, yeah, also that wasn't your house. Like, so you could just pick up and move because you don't pay for it. So he will throw you out anyway one day. Or if he asked you to leave, you wouldn't get anything from the sale of the house and you wouldn't be entitled to anything of the house. But I'm glad that Ariana is going to get in her own house. Prayers for Christine Quinn. Hope she's okay. I wonder if anyone from Selling Sunset has reached out to her because I know she left on like a sour note, not really friends with any of them, but also a lot of it is like probably made up, like the hills in Laguna Beach. So who knows? Maybe some of that was for more dramatic effect, but I do know that they don't hang out with her. But I feel like a time like this, I think at least like Mary would text her, maybe Chelsea, that other girl that got close with her. I'm sure Chriselle is in her own bubble of selfishness because I didn't like Chriselle last season. She's very like annoying and all about her. And she used to be very nice, a little more timid, so it's nice that she found her voice, but her voice is kind of rude, so, like, not about it, but in some other little gossip news, just random, Melissa Gorga opened up a new Envy in Huntington, New York, so that is gonna put her on the spot for her 2nd store. I don't think because she moved out of her old space, I don't think she kept that, so she doesn't have 3. Um, Kim D always says that she doesn't own the store. Now, I don't think Kim D says anything that's not true because I think she is like a truth teller. I just don't understand if this isn't your store, why you'd be running around doing all this work. Because if you just like post for somebody else and they own the store, why would you be doing all this work? And she really does do all the work with the store, like setting it up and everything. Like, so I don't know. That is one thing that confuses me. I can't wait for the new season in New Jersey because I think we're going to get like a lot more of like, are her and Joe really doing this, this, and this? Are they full of shit? Are they like, what is it? Like, he just posted a little video too this weekend, kind of like advertising. Finally, for once, it said like, call this number, Gorga Development. I'm like, okay, finally, after all this time, there's a phone number we can call you to like build a house. Like the minute they came on the scene for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, he's like, oh, I'm the best like developer like around and blah blah blah. And look at this house I built. And it's like he never would like advertise like this is my business. This is my office. Like this is what it's called, like Gorga Development. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was always weird to me. Like it seemed like he was just building houses for himself. And he was like flipping houses, but it's like, again, he was never posting on his personal Instagram. I'm not saying even you have to do it on the show because I know if you advertise your business, you have to give Bravo a piece. So maybe that's why he never did. But like, this is the first time ever in his life that it's like, Gorga Development, call this phone number. So that's what I always thought weird because it's like, we see like other people like Maurizio, the agency was always around and we saw, and it's like, yeah, that's a legit business. And we could Google it and call a phone number and sell our house with him. Joe was always a little weird to me that I'm like, well, if you're like one of the hottest real estate developers in New Jersey, which Melissa used to say, where's the phone number to call you to develop my house? You know what I mean? So it is interesting. It's interesting. She always is saying like these are her stores. Kim D says they're not. So I'd love to know, are they her stores? I'm gonna like start like searching deeds. I don't know, like public record things that I could just go down to these places and like see what is in people's name and what is not. But I'm gonna take a little break and then we are going to move on to the recap of Summerhouse. To all my listeners out there, it's not just the Bravo celebrities that want to look beautiful. We do too. Head on over to Studio One Salon for the most amazing extensions, cut, color, or even just a nice shampoo and blowout for when you go out with all your friends to talk about all the latest Bravo tea. Use my code BRAVOT with a stay at home mom to enjoy 10% off. And we're back. So we pick up from the scene of Lindsay escaping through the gate. And I'm like, where is she going? She's just like walking on the side of the road. So then Carl FaceTimes his mom and is explaining to her the fights. So I guess he didn't even tell her about the prior fight because how hard is that too? Like once you start telling, so all the friends already know that you're having problems with Lindsay because they're literally sharing a house with you and witnessing it. So Carl doesn't even need to explain it to them. They're getting a front row center seat. But when you start telling like your family, especially your parents, that you're struggling with, your partner or spouse, it's like they're your parent, so they're obviously gonna side with you at the end of the day. I mean, unless, like, Carl would be doing like, unless he's, like, beating Lindsay or something, but, of course, his mom is gonna be swayed in the direction of, like, not really liking Lindsay, she's making my baby boy upset." Um, I would like to see Carl's mom get activated on Lindsay, knowing all the mean stuff that she's been saying to our Carlita. Um, I mean Carlito. I said Carlita. You know why I said that? Because our daughters watch Gabby Dollhouse and the little car's name is Carlita. And every time that's on, I think of like when they call him Carlito, which is funny, but just random fact. Shout out Gabby Dollhouse, Netflix for the kids. It's great. But Lindsay comes back in and all the girls are like, where'd you just go?" And she's like, "Oh, I like took a walk on the side of the road." And they're like, "Okay, glad you didn't get like hit by a car because you snuck a bottle of rosé before we went out." Because this is still like from the day where they went out to that like outside bar and like were day drinking. And she was getting ready with Gabby, aka like smuggling a whole bottle of rosé into her stomach before they left, which that's what I mean. She's already feeling uncomfortable and hiding, like closet drinking around Carl. And I feel like she wants to drink even more because she feels stressed and tense around Carl. So it's like break up already. I mean, we know that they're gonna break up, but like all of these hints is making me just know that like they are not destined to be together. They need to just pull the trigger. I'm thinking though that they both at this point were like, "Oh my god, like this is we can't get married, but like who's going to break up with who first because we're in the middle of filming the season." Like if he would have broken up with her right now, what would have happened for the rest of the filming of the season? I think there's like a guest house though. Maybe someone would have been kicked out. And what I'm predicting, I'm just going to like tangent off for a second. What I'm predicting for this coming summer, because, you know, they're already broken up, I think that they'll be like, "We don't wanna get rid of either of you. Let's, like, have you swap weekends." So, like, one weekend we'll get Lindsay, one weekend we'll get Carl. That's the only way we can do it, and I think that actually be real juicy because we would also get just think we'd get crazy going to Montauk in the middle of the night, Lindsay having fun with Danielle, bringing some boys back maybe to the house to make sandwiches for her, and then the following weekend we would get good old Carl not having to, like, scream in Ubers and Lyfts, whatever they're called, at Lindsay. I think that's the only way we could film it too, because if Bravo doesn't wanna get rid of one of them, that would be, I think, a good way to keep both of them. So I also don't know if that would affect the pay though, because you could see like Lindsay be like, "Well, I still need to be paid the same because, I have to pay for this apartment that Carl like left me with." No, just kidding. She like wanted to stay there and good for you, girl. I guess you can afford it on your own. It's very expensive, but later in the episode, I'll talk about Paigey thinking about upgrading to the apartment and just hearing them talk about how much apartment rent, not like paying the mortgage, rent is up there. We've always known New York is expensive. And all my friends after college, like, did the whole working in the city thing. A lot of them don't anymore just because of this reason. It's too much. And we're getting older now. So I do look at all of them and I'm like, aren't you tired of the city life? Doesn't it make you tired? I don't know. But the gang is all prepping to camp in the backyard. Now, I do not like camping. I camped twice in my life, and it was to go to a music festival called Firefly that's in Delaware. Um, that was my only 2 times camping. I don't like it. I just don't like to be, like, hot and sweaty when I sleep. As I said, I was at a sleepover this weekend with my daughter, and I slept on a couch, and I was uncomfortable enough. I don't wanna be camping outside. I just don't. No, thank you. But they are all gonna partner up to pitch tents, which is funny. So West is partners with Lindsay, and he said he would probably pick Lindsay to survive in the wilderness with because she would get shit done. And he's like, "She would scare me a little bit, but I would like it." He's like, "She would just take leadership and do it, and I like that." Sometimes, my husband and I watch Naked and Afraid, and I'm like, I don't know what would be worse, like, being outside or being naked. Like, they each can bring one item with them, and I was like, I'm sorry, I would have to bring pants as my item. I would have to be selfish, like, no, like, knife or fire starter. Like, some people bring, like, a thing to easily start fire because it gets cold where they are, and especially if they rain and they're wet, they're cold. So it's like, hopefully one person's bringing, like, a machete and one's bringing, like, a fire starter, but I would have to bring pants, so my partner wouldn't like me at all, and I probably would go home, like, after one day. They have to be in the wilderness naked and with their partner for like 30 days. And if the partner taps out, they just lose. So it's also like you both got to stick it out. And they don't even win enough money, in my opinion. I'm sorry. They need like $5 million for being naked and afraid and alone in the woods with the partner. Oh no, wait, they're not alone. It's called Naked and Afraid. But it would be even worse if you were alone. So having a partner obviously helps, but so they're all doing this. They are playing like a drunk little fun, risque spin the bottle. Sierra and West were dared to make out. I was like, yes, Carl did that one for them. And then Kyle and Lindsay had to run around like naked, not fully naked. So I think Lindsay took her top off. Kyle took his pants off. His tan line was like straight like pants, like shorts. Like it was like white butt, white little, thigh action. And then like he's, covering the family jewels up front. So then everyone attempts to go to sleep. Sierra and West are doing a little kissy kissy action in the tent. Gabby snuck out into the house, and so did Jesse. That would be me. So they film her like just sneaking back into her room. She's asleep. But then it starts raining, so that's no fun. So everyone sneaks back in like 4:30 in the morning. Everyone was back in the house. So at least they get to do that. Um, Amanda is just kind of also been expressing to Kyle that she wants to move to New Jersey. She's over the city life. So I understand. Kyle's even older, so I'm surprised he's not over the city life, but I can see him never wanting to move out of the city. But if they want to start a family, it in my opinion has to be really hard to have little kids in the city. It's different for like the two of them, they can pick up and go, but just even having dogs in the city seems difficult, and they have 2 little dogs. Her parents live in New Jersey. We saw them get married on their property. It's beautiful. So, also, I feel like if you grow up in that life, you miss it. Like, you miss the yard. That's what I would miss. That's why I would never wanna move to California because it's very far, it's very expensive, and like, I feel like I would have to be a famous person to even afford to live there. But I would like California over New York because you could get, like, the city, but then you could get, like, land too. You know what I mean? Like, best of both worlds. Like, New York is just city. Like, you have to drive out to the Hamptons or drive to New Jersey or to get land. Whereas California, you could like live in Beverly Hills, but like go into LA for dinner and it's very easy. And everyone could have a car. I also would want to live somewhere where I could still be in control and drive. Now, granted, I know Kyle has a car in New York, but it has to be obnoxious to drive in New York. Who knows where he parks? He obviously has to pay an arm and a leg probably for parking. It's just a lot. It's a lot. He is just kinda not ready, but that's where, like, I love Kyle and Amanda, but they're definitely, like, never on the same page. Not as much as Lindsay and Carl, so they chit-chat kind of about communicating and how they really just need to communicate more together, and he then goes off to Soul Cycle with Jesse, West, and Sierra. So this is the Sunday when they're all, like, getting ready to leave, and Lindsay doesn't go to that. She's like, I'm leaving." Maybe she's gonna go sneak some rosé with somebody. She's probably gonna go to, like, boozy brunch with Gabby. Um, After the class, Carl does say to everyone, like, "I think I'm gonna break the Friday cycle and not come up on Friday for, like, the next weekend." And Sierra is just having a real moment, real talk. She's like, "My parents fought a lot, and then they did get divorced," but she's like, "You and Lindsay are already fighting, so you could, like, save yourselves both the headache and future children that you would have. Like, it already doesn't feel right now, so, like, just think long and hard." And kudos to Sierra for saying that, and it is true. Like, that's my point. Like, Lindsay, we see and know, says that she's blindsided by Carl. I don't know if she was, like, blind and deaf all summer, but it's like, I don't know how you were blindsided because in my opinion, you guys are fighting so much. I don't even know why she waited for him to call off the wedding. Like, why wasn't she? Like, it's pretty crazy that she thinks this is normal that they're fighting to this degree. Yes, people do fight. We're not all perfect because if people tell you they don't bicker with their spouse, they're lying to you. Um, but the bickering they have is like not even bickering. It's like explosive, like life ruining, like threats. And like the things she says are like you can't come back from. Like, oh, I'm accusing you of doing cocaine 2 weekends in a row, but let's get married. Let's go back to planning our wedding. Like, no, what? But so now I'm gonna come to the point where I'm talking about Paigey wanting to upgrade the apartment. So we got lots of people, Amanda and Kyle want to move. We now know that Lindsay pays for her big expensive apartment all on her own. So hers and Carl's was like 12,000 a month. And I remember Paige used to say like, "Oh, that's ridiculous." But Paige alone pays 8,500 a month. She's like talking to a realtor. She's like, I want a space that's a little bigger for when Craig comes and visits, but this is my apartment. So the realtor asked, like, is this something you're getting with your boyfriend? And she's like, no, like it's not with him, but it is like obviously I want him to be comfortable. And that's why she's even thinking about moving because Paige's apartment is super cute, but it's super cute for just her because she uses a whole bedroom as a closet. So it is a 2 bedroom. So Craig says that to the realtor, like closet space is important because she's currently using a whole second bedroom as a wardrobe closet, and we see that Craig gets a little, like, linen closet off the kitchen for his belongings, which is funny. I mean, again, he doesn't live there, so he doesn't need, like, a ton because I'm sure it's nice for him to leave some stuff there, but obviously he packs, like, a fresh bag every time he comes. Now, I'm sure he also has, like, toothbrush, crap like that, so he doesn't have to bring silly toiletry things, but he's bringing, like, outfits. It's like her. She probably leaves stuff in Charleston, but more like some basics and like loungewear. Like her like outfits are obviously always going to be changing and trending. So she obviously is always packing a bag as is he. But he is saying that he would contribute to some of the monthly costs if she found one outside of the budget cuz she is saying she really doesn't want to go much over like 9 or 10. So she's really not looking to spend much more. But all I was thinking of is like, oh my God, girl, you're going to spend $10,000 a month by yourself. And then she's like, my boyfriend lives in Charleston, so he just doesn't understand New York real estate. But it's like, I don't think anyone understands New York real estate at this point in your life because Craig and her are serious. He owns a home and the home life for children is probably gonna be more in Charleston, and, like, he owns businesses, he can't leave, like, I've said that numerous times before, and shout out, Craig is from Delaware, which is where I am from, so, yeah, he is, of course, rolling his eyes even more so the roots that he grew up that's why Delaware is boring at times for me to live here, but I'm like, really wouldn't wanna live much anywhere else because we get a lot, bang for our buck, and I'm just used to living in this cost of living. So anywhere Paige would go at this point would actually be a less cost of living. I mean, unless they like bought a house in Long Island. That's expensive too. And the Hamptons. But I'm sure Craig is like, girl, like we love each other. Like at this point, like, please stop paying so much for this apartment. Or it's like, honestly, I'd be like, don't worry about me. Just stay in this apartment and keep paying the 8,500 a month. But it is interesting that he said and offered that he would contribute some to the monthly cost. So we are getting an appearance from Craigie, which I am so excited about. But Jesse and West, before we get the gang all together for the weekend, are getting little manly manicures and pedicures together. And they're just talking about Craig like coming and joining them for the weekend because Jesse, as we know, has been hitting on our Pagey too much, and I don't like it. And he's like telling Wes, like, Yeah, I mean, I hope Craig is just, like, chill, but also, like, if he says anything to me, he's just an insecure person. It's like, I do not like you. Thank you. I like him sometimes when he's hanging out with the gang, but when he talks about this, it's very disrespectful. And it's like, once the season's over and Craig is watching this right now on the screen, he's definitely not going to like you. So it's like, A, you're hitting on his woman, and B, now you're saying he's insecure if he would say something to you about it. It's like, that doesn't mean he's insecure. He's just saying, like, dude, back off and don't make her feel uncomfortable. Cause also, like, we know Paige is never gonna do anything with him, but it's like, don't put her in that uncomfortability where, like, she just doesn't like that, you know? Like, I would be like, "You know I have a boyfriend. Can you not make it weird and uncomfortable for all of us?" So, I can't wait in the next episode to see them, like, mingle more and, like, bring that up, or somebody, I think Kyle brings it up. He's like, "You wanna, like, reel it in how hard you were hitting on Paige, like, the past weekend?" So it's like, good for stirring the pot. Good for you, Kyle. But when the gang all convenes together, Sierra and Lindsay are going to make a good old Southern dinner. So that also sounds very tasty. So we see Craig telling the whole group about Paige looking for the apartment hunting. So Lindsay was like, "Oh, like, would you contribute, Pate or Craig?" Because he said, like, "Oh, we found a sick one, and it is, like, $12,000 a month, so it's, like, over the budget." So I told her I would pay the difference. So Paige's budget was 10, they found one for 12, so that's literally perpendicular to what Lindsay and Carl pay, which is funny because Paige always said it was ridiculous they pay that much. And at least they were paying for it together. So Paige will wanna pay for this all by her lonesome, but have Craig be a visitor, so that's even worse. Um, he he said that Paige does not want him to contribute, and then that's what Paige goes into in her confessional. She's like, "What if something happens? I don't want you, like, paying my bills," and understandable, that makes sense, but also it's like, I like her independence, but she's so independent that it's like, Paige, you do realize he is your boyfriend and he has to, like, maybe, like, feel like he wants to contribute. Like, yes, she doesn't contribute to his home, but that's different. Like, he owns it. Like, how do we know? Maybe he bought the house outright and he totally renovated it. Now, he had her involved in the renovations, like with say, but he paid for it. But it is interesting that Lindsay asks all the questions, which I do love, but it's interesting that Paige is very, like, turned off of, like, "No, I don't even want you to pay for the difference." The difference would be $2,000 a month, and I'm sure if and when they would break up, he just wouldn't pay her the $2,000 a month anymore, and she already feels comfortable, you know, living in this apartment, I guess, I don't know. But I'm sure she could find another one. $10,000 is a lot. That's a big budget, so I'm sure she'll be fine, and I don't think she did move yet because all her videos are still from the current apartment she's in, so maybe Craig was like, "If you don't feel comfortable, just stay. I don't care that I have a little linen closet for my couple outfits, and I don't whatever." I don't know. I don't want them to break up, but he's telling everyone how he hasn't had liquor in 10 months. Love that for him. He's just feels focused. He's like, I'm doing it for myself, but, I know that it kind of was affecting our relationship. But I like that. It's kind of like James. Like, he is sober for himself, but he knew that if he didn't do this, Allie could potentially walk away. So Craig and Kyle are just outside, and Kyle is showing off Amanda's label that she made for the new Loverboy variety pack. They're stacking the bar out there. And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, when she really, like, wants to work hard and puts her mind to it, like, she can, like, get stuff done." He always is, like, thinking she's gonna work just as hard as him. It's like, no. That'd be like Maurizio thinking Kyle is gonna work just as hard at the agency as him, and it's like, no. Like, they kinda do it together, but it's really more like his thing. Now, Craig is saying to Kyle, they kinda, like, carry over the conversation that was inside from, like, the apartment, and he's like, "If we work out, we work out, but if we don't, we don't." And he's like, "I really want us to." And then I like that he is saying this though, but Kyle is a little caught off guard that Craig's saying this. He's like, "This is the first time I've ever heard Craig talk like this." And then Kyle is just saying how Amanda wants to move to New Jersey, but he doesn't really want to do that. So it's like I feel like they're having the common ground of, you know, our girls want to do this, but we don't. Kind of like he really wants Paige to move down there, but she just doesn't want to yet. But also, like, Craig isn't waiting forever. Like, he wants that cute little Southern family life. It's hard. He's 35, she's 30, I think 31 at this point. But I get it. Like, Craig wants her to move down because then I'm sure they're not going to get married right away and they're not going to have kids right away. And it's hard. Um, I'm curious what will happen because as more time goes on, it does have to be hard. And he doesn't want to give Paige like a timeline. I feel like he has like waited a long time though. I mean, they're still not even engaged, but I do love them. I don't want them to break up. Um, Kyle said that he had heard also, he's dropping some bombs, that Lindsay and Carl don't even sleep in the same room at home. So Carl is not there. They're all addressing it. The other guys come out and they're just kind of chilling in the hot tub. And they're like, yeah, I guess Carl isn't here because he doesn't want to fight. Lindsay is saying he's not there because he's going to like bring some big shipment for the party the next weekend. And we do see he brings this like old, like race car because the theme is like race car, which looks really fun and cool. So I am excited for this week's episode. But yeah, I think more the real reason is he just wanted to avoid the Friday fight. And that was interesting that Kyle said that. So at home, they're not even sleeping in the same room because we understand if you're there having an explosive fight for the night, it's like, ugh, drunk Lindsay, go sleep in that other room. But it's like at home, if you're not doing that, that's why it's like, girl, where have you been? You really were blindsided. Like, I don't even know you personally. And I'm just seeing what's on TV, but just seeing and hearing what's going on, and we're not even getting the home life 24/7 cameras. Like, I already know that you 2 shouldn't get married, so I don't know what the heck. She's just like Carl did say that. He's like, "She's gonna spin it and turn this all on me." And I'm like, "You know what? I'm all with you, Carl." Like I said, the only thing I don't like is that he waited so long. He let her have her bridal shower, and he waited too long so that the guests didn't get the refund. That's a little messed up. I think he waited so that they were done filming the season, but he shouldn't have let her have the bridal shower. That is a little like embarrassing, honestly. And then like you get all the gifts. Like now, what do you do? Return them? I'd be like, no, like you just keep it. I mean, how awkward to be like, can I have that back? But then it's like, who gets the gifts? They're technically for both of you. Like if it's like a nice salad bowl, who's keeping the nice salad bowl? I could see Lindsay being like, these are all for me, Carl, because it was like my shower. And since you decided to call the wedding off, I keep all the gifts. I totally could see her doing that. And he's probably like, fine, I don't want that waffle maker anyway. You picked that out. I really don't care. Don't care. But Lindsay is then talking to Amanda and Paige in a room alone, which was weird anyway. She's trying on all these cute dresses for the little Southern dinner. And she's like, yeah, how do you think I look in this dress? And they're like, oh, you look hot. And she's like, yeah, I might as well wear it now because Carl doesn't even have sex with me. And I'm like, okay, way to just like segue into that conversation. You know, she's deliberately telling the two of them because they're going to run back, tell Craig and Kyle. Then Craig and Kyle are going to tell Carl. And then it's going to have a whole commotion at this race car party next weekend. So she strategically, because she's in PR, is having this conversation. This is another point of like, Lindsay, wake up. Is this not a hint? Like, you guys are young, you have no kids, you have no excuse to have no sex life, and you're already sleeping in separate rooms. I just can't wait to keep watching the rest of the season, seeing this all. It's so mean to say I love watching the relationship fall apart, but I do. It's interesting. It's just really interesting to see how it all happened. And it's crazy to me that they like stayed together this long and stuck it out. I really think it's because of filming the show and they didn't know what to do. But I'm ready. So I hope everyone has a good week. I hope if you guys have time, you could watch Buying Beverly Hills. And if you have already, I would love to hear your guys' opinions. Like, do you think we got more out of this than Beverly Hills? I do. Honestly, I'm mad. And I think Bravo's going to be mad too at Kyle. They're going to be like, how dare you bicycle with those Hermes shopping bags and have this whole family meal conversation with Maurizio and not do that on Bravo? I mean, I'm wondering if she did that so she could be fired, like from Bravo. I don't know, because I'm wondering if she wants to do the show anymore. I really am. My stomach is growling though. I don't know if any of you guys heard it in the microphone, so I am going to make myself a lovely salad because we are getting our summer bodies ready. Watching them in the Hamptons, just thinking about how it's almost summer here. Thank God. Can't wait to be at the pool this summer. Can't wait. We go to Wildwood. We're Jersey Shore people. I also have been watching Jersey Shore, just to let everyone know too. Angelina is a pain in the butt. I would love to do some bonus episodes with the Connection Queen, and talk about Jersey Shore because she said she still watches it and she'd love to do that. So I know she's been really busy because she just started a podcast. But hopefully we're going to hook up soon and we could do some bonus episodes of Jersey Shore. I don't know if you guys still watch it, but Angelina's a pain in the butt. Sammy's back. They have Ron coming back for this next trip they're going on to Nashville. So they're all going to be in a house together. Well, not really. They have a boy house and a girl house, but they're all going to be on the trip together. And I love that. Just drama everywhere. Keep the drama on the TV, not in my real life. I love to watch the drama play out with all these people. But hope everyone has a wonderful weekend and watches all the shows that we have lined up for the week. As always, this was so fun, and you could find me on Instagram at Bravo T with the Stay at Home Mom, Spotify, and Apple. Till next time, see ya.